Lord, we come before you this afternoon, oh God. I just want to thank you, Lord, for all the blessings you have already given us, oh God. Lord, we give you glory this afternoon. We give you honor. We give you praise, oh God. You are welcome in our meeting. Lord, cover us right now. Fill this place with your presence. Touch each and every one of us, oh God. Let us have a vision that you would desire for us to have for West Memphis, oh God. Thank you, oh God, for what you're doing in West Memphis. Everybody's on the rise, even Memphis looking at us, God. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for your praises, for your honor. And Lord, we thank you for West Memphis. We love West Memphis. We thank you for what you're doing in West Memphis, oh God. Lord, we give you glory this afternoon. We give you honor and we give you praise because it's in your name, oh God, that we live and move and have our being, oh God. Give us that love that run from heart to heart and breast to breast, oh God. Open our minds, oh God. Open our eyes, oh God, so we can see the visionary that you have placed in West Memphis, oh God. And Lord, we thank you right now, oh God, for what you're doing and what you're going to do. And we give you glory, we give you honor, and we give you praise, oh God. Thank you for the merit that you've given us, oh God. We give you glory for him, oh God. Continue, Lord, encourage him, lift him, oh God. Wrap him in your arms of courage, God. We thank you right now, God. Look on our finance department, oh God, to continue to find money for this city, oh God. We give you glory for that, oh God, and we bless your holy name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Praise God.
Let us face the flag.
Thank you, Jesus.
The pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mr. City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Okay. Mayor McClinton.
Present.
City Attorney Stevenson.
Here.
City Treasurer Suter.
Here.
Councilmember Bruce.
Here.
Councilmember Cat.
Here.
Councilmember Croon.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Hope. Councilmember Hope. Councilmember Hutchinson. She called.
Yeah, we call, yeah, exactly.
Councilmember Muhammad.
Present.
Councilmember Mundy.
Here.
Councilmember Murray.
Here.
Councilmember Queelis.
Here.
We got 8 out of 10 present, but I did talk with Councilwoman Hutchinson. She was trying to get on Zoom, but it was technical difficulties, so she was available. I'll ask you all, will you all table the CDBG roof rehabilitation bids until our next meeting?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Any other corrections to the minutes?
Motion approved is submitted.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. We had no old business, no new business. We had, we're going to ask the council to give me permission to sign the contract with Rubicon.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Ms. Muhammad, will you make that motion to add the parks?
I would like to make a motion that Mr. Ladd and his committee be added to the agenda to explain their presentation on the Hightower Park.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? You can continue now.
Okay.
We had the last room. Okay. Well,
Can I take some?
Yeah.
And good afternoon, good evening, council. And the key here is, why they're here is to present this to you because we tasked them with trying to come up with the best usage for our dollars at Hightower Park to enhance the park. And you notice we were showing you all this, but there are no dollar signs on it because first and foremost, we gotta get permission from you guys to move forward to put it out to bid to see actually how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
So that's the key, because, we're liking all this stuff and saying it's good and whatnot, but don't get attached to something that may or may not can be put in the plan. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It may be some stuff that need to be added, taken away, or it may be some stuff that can be enhanced based off of what the bid is. But that's the step we're at now, is to put it out to bid to see how much it's gonna cost. That way we can move forward, because we went back and forth with things saying, well, this is what we need, this is the priority, this is what we want. I think we relayed the message to them, to the architect, or I have, and the park commission has relate the message to the architect committee in a good fashion, because they came out with a great design, overall concept for the park. I mean, even aesthetically, with down to the bathroom, playground equipment, basketball goals. So it's just more than that amphitheater in there, in that park. But like I said, it may be some things that have to tweak, because we also did some add alternates to the project, you know, just for the parking area, just to cut down on some expenses. So, you know, this is the step now, though, is to see if you guys like the design they came up with, and let's move forward and getting some pricing on it to see what the dollar tag is gonna be. And, you know, it's been a long time coming, and I've had some issues going back and forth here even recently that has kind of hindered some stuff, but we're limping on along. And like I said, I like the final product that they presented to us for what we've tasked them with.
Now, Mr. Parker, we're talking about putting it out to bid now. Have we gone through design and review and?
Well, that's part of it. I think all that's gonna happen at the same time. We put it in, you know, give it to the DRC for them to approve it, and then.
And gone through Paul Luker's office, everything is,
Right.
okay.
And then we can put it out for bid.
I guess if I may, make sure we're all on the same page. You're not talking about bidding one aspect of this project. You're talking about the overall scheme, the entire project, all five
Absolutely.
parks, everything else. Once you get those bids back, then we'll come back, sit down, revamp what we need to. Once we come up with a final plan, then it may go before DRC. But I don't see any reason to go before them until you get the numbers right.
Well, I don't know how that
Don't.
card works. I just thought that you had to go before DRC before you put it out for bid. I didn't know
Yeah,
it.
we would
Yep.
need our, would we need to go ahead and do our fire marshal approvals and all of that before bid? We typically get the approvals before we bid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if
To the
you want
city.
to run it through the DRC, not formally, but we can meet and just see if there's any.
Okay. That's just typically, we'll go through and get our approvals, and then we can put it out for bid. That's, I guess, what Lorenzo was asking, if we have permission to go ahead and submit it to the fire marshal and the health
Oh,
department.
there are procedures you need to go through. I just know that once you get the bids back, what you got DRC to approve is gonna change. I mean, there may be some concepts you need to go in there and change. You may want to reposition buildings, you may want to redo colors. So that's what I'm saying, I'd kind of wait until you get all your numbers back.
Or it may be something they said, no, you
No.
can't do. You know?
I don't think that's gonna be the
Well,
situation.
They will typically have some
So-
small comments, so
Yeah.
getting those incorporated before it gets bid may be helpful.
Okay.
Question. We're talking about the Hightower Park, and we've got a limited amount of money in this bond issuance that we voted in. What is the status on the Tilton Rogers Park?
That was the one, this was the smaller one, so
Uh-huh.
we were gonna try to knock it out, and you know, right now prices are crazy, but to our best knowledge, we're somewhere, I think the last time that we did a cost estimate, we were somewhere around 2.3 to 2.5, and that should leave the 6 for Tilden. And we knew even if we had the whole amount, I remember from the first meetings that we were having with the parks and everything, we wouldn't have had enough to even do the whole Tilden Rogers. So we were like, we could knock out one of them all the way. That leaves us 6 to get through Tilden, and then we'll know what we've got left, because they were saying there might be opportunities to do it in, you know, a phase 2 that would pick up anything that was left from the first phase.
And Councilman Croom, just to let you know with what's gonna be, excuse me, all involved with Tilden Rogers, I don't know if you know, the high school has elected to build their own baseball and softball fields, and right now they've ran into some real issues with some subsurface stuff. So, I mean, Tilden Rogers project is gonna be way more extensive than this. That's why we decided to go with this one, to go ahead and get this done and kind of get it accomplished, because you never know what you're gonna, run into when you're digging, 15, 20 feet deep, doing subsurfacing like they're doing. And I've heard their project is put on hold because of some of the issues they're having now with, some of the subsurfacing stuff that they've ran into. So, it's, Tilden Rogers, and we're gonna do something similar to what they're doing, as far as they're just doing turf on a couple fields. We want to do our whole softball complex in turf, so it's like I said, it's gonna be a way more extensive project than they're doing. And like I said, they've already ran into trouble, so, and not that we're anticipating any problems on Tilden Rogers, it's just, we know that there's gonna be a way extensive project, especially with trying to, do some drainage issues that we're having out there and some other stuff that we really need to get in this bond issue, if we're gonna do it correctly.
Well, again, what we presented to the people before they were voted was a total project,
Yes.
not bits and pieces. So the total project needs to be bid at one time.
Yes.
So we can find out what the numbers are and what we have to scale back overall,
Right.
not just one park.
Right, no, I mean, I'm
Okay.
in agreement with that, but the parks that were picked to do were Hightower and Tilden Rogers, and that's what we kinda,
No, there were 4 or 5. There are other parks that have water splash pads that were part of that title. And all that has to be considered so we can find out how much of the 9 million is going to exceed. And if it exceeds the 9 million, we scale the total project back.
right, well, I'm in.
Well, let me add this. I agree, but I think we all got to understand what we want to do with all the parks, and it's just my opinion. 9,050,000 ain't gonna cover everything at the parks, the Tilden Roger or Hightower. So we already know that that's not gonna cover that. So what they doing, I feel that they are gonna have to piece some things together in order for we can get something done.
No, sir, with all due respect, you bid out what we have, and if it comes in at $14 million, you go back to the people and you say, what we originally had indicated to you is not, it's just impossible. Do you want to approve this additional, or do you want to scale back the total project?
Well,
We need their permission to move forward.
I understand that, but I just know that I already know at this point, 9 million ain't gonna cover it. I do know that.
Then we need to get accurate data, take it back to the public, and let them make a decision. And we need to bid the total project so we know what kind of dollars we're talking about.
So,
And that's one opinion.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Problem with that is the cost of all the design to get it into a bid format. And then when we do scale it down, we're doing it all again. We can run the architectural costs through the roof.
Again, we've allocated $671,000 to handle the expense.
Yes.
If the council keeps changing plans and forcing them into additional work,
Keep going up.
they'll have to give us a price on what it's gonna cost to do another set of renderings.
Yes.
But eventually, you're gonna have to tell the public, the people that approved this project,
Yes.
what the total costs are,
And I
based
also-
off of the conception that you gave them.
And I also thought in one of our work meetings, we didn't think we would get any one contractor to bid on both projects. as we
There's
did
5 projects, there's not 1 or
Well,
2.
5.
Well, it's
I didn't
four. It's 4
think- well, I didn't
projects.
think
4.
we would get, I thought we were of the common knowledge that we wouldn't get one contractor to be able to, or we would think to, bid on all 4 projects.
Okay, then we'll get bids in for what we have.
And that's, I guess, what we're trying to do now.
If it's 4 different contractors for 4 different parks, we'll get their numbers. But we need the total project cost, not just bits and pieces of it.
Okay, now, let's be clear. I know they're coming today to talk about the James Hightower Park. I guess that's been kind of, a crimple has been put in that because of what Councilor Cat is saying, that we just don't want to do bits and pieces of it. We want to do the entire thing. So today, we can't let them move forward with the Hightower Park only? We're just wanting to get the whole bundle before we do anything else?
That's what the people were told. The people were given a plan that we're gonna do these 4 parks. They were given conceptual drawings of what they would look like. The public approved that plan. That's not the plan they're bringing here today. They're bringing a whole new set of plans. And again, we need to do what the people voted on us to do. Right now, he's basically telling you, okay, we're gonna spend $12 to $15 million ballpark, and council, you gotta come up with the difference.
I mean, I'll also agree with Councilor Cat, and I think it needs to be done in the whole package, just like we did the first time initially. And we can always, I guess you'd call it, manipulate the expenses of both parks or the total package.
Yeah.
But I think it ought to be done in a total package.
Well, let me add this, and I truly respect Councilman Caswell's ideas on this, but I disagree. I think we need to do it the way we doing it because I already know it. I think we all know that $9 million is not going to fix all for the park like we wanted. And the only thing we have to be doing is getting other bids on this, and nothing is going to be within the money that we have. So I just think that you all, when we call for the vote, you all decide what you think is best. Because actually, we're not talking about spending money. We're simply talking about getting estimates on what it would be.
Because while we're doing that too, the other thing is prices are gonna be constantly increasing.
Well, we put this project on hold because of COVID 3-4 years ago. And you may put it on hold again for another 2 years and wait for inflation to come back down until you actually do the project that you told the people you were going to do. I mean, we told them that we're going to do this. Now you're telling me we're not going to. Not for the price range that they were given, that they
We're
approved.
not gonna do it, we're telling
You're not going to do it within the price range that they were given.
I think what it is conceptually, we just have a difference in how we're gonna get it done. It's not that we're not gonna do this or not gonna do that. We're kinda, debating about how we're gonna get this whole thing done.
You're going to do the whole thing for $9 million. Is that what you're telling me today?
I know, I never said that.
Then that's what you're not telling the people then. You're saying I can't bring this in at $9 million that you approved.
City Attorney, what is your take on this, please, sir?
Well, I think that, what we have indicated, and I didn't come to all the meetings, but as I recall, there were meetings held, public meetings, if I'm not mistaken, about the park, and there were drawings, and as I recall, and renderings at those public meetings, and that was what we, information that was given to the public. I think that when this was approved, it was approved as a whole package at the time that it was approved. I think that was a few months ago. So I'm not disagreeing at all with what Councilperson Catt is saying, because I think that that's what the people ultimately were provided the information on. Now, things have changed, obviously, with regard to every meeting I go to is full of information about how costs have skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. There's not one meeting I've been to where costs haven't doubled or tripled to do any type of construction or anything like this. So obviously that throws a kink in it, but it is what we represented to the public. And so I think it's got to all be done for that $9,050,000 unless the public says we want to spend more money on it, public money anyway, okay? And that could be done, but right now that's where we are, I think.
So your opinion is, since you are the city attorney, we should just go on with what the public said and not accept what they're bringing to us
Well, I'm
today?
not saying not accept what they're bringing to us, but I think we've got to go with what we've represented to the public with what
Right.
we're going to do with this money. And, this is just off the cuff because it was put on the agenda by unanimous vote. So I haven't had much opportunity to look into it, but that's my first thought, is that we don't do anything differently than what we have represented to the public and voted on.
I have a question. Councilman Catt, you saying we don't need to look at what this might cost?
I'm saying you need to look at what the entire project cost. You can't make a decision until you know the dollars.
We got to get bids on all parts, all 4 parts.
But that's not what they're asking you to do today.
Say what now?
That's not what they're asking you to do today. They're asking you to bid one aspect of the park.
Yeah, that's, if different people bid different parts, we need to know what each one costs. This would be saying what this one costs.
There could be one contractor that wants to do all 4 of
That's
them.
it.
Don't need no one.
No.
I remember
Saying you bid the total plan. The total package needs to be put out for bid, so we can find out where we stand.
when this park project came up and we went to the people, I don't think at that time that we had an accurate number of what all of them gonna cost.
We did. There was no dollar amount presented to the people.
$9 million.
$9 million.
No, it wasn't.
$9,050,000. That's what they voted on. That's what they voted on.
They voted on a percentage.
No, sir, they voted on $9,050,000. That was in the ballot title.
I get what I'm saying with the not knowing how the park was gonna look how could they say what 9,050,000 was gonna
Yeah, we gotta
be,
get that
what was gonna
inflation, too.
take care of that?
We're the ones that told them that.
So,
That was the best estimate at that time. If you can't meet that estimate, you have to take the information back to the public and say, what do you want us to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to spend 12 million, or do you want to just scrap the entire project? But you have to tell us what you want to change, because you gave us the approval.
I can remember there was some debate when we were meeting about the dollar amount, and it came in, it was one thing, and then it was another, so that's why I like to look at the referendum, really,
I guess what I'm asking now is, this is the plan for Hightower Park.
Correct.
You want to come up with the whole plan for Tilden Rogers, correct? And the other two parks were just, Worthington Park, we're gonna have a splash pad, and is that Matthews on 25th?
It was, Franklin.
Franklin, I'm sorry. There's a splash pad over there. And then we just get the price on all four of those parks. And then, once we get the design together, come back, see what the price is gonna be on all four parks. And then once the price come in under 9.9 million, what we do, we strap and say, hey, do you all wanna spend $2 million in Hightower Park? You wanna spend $6 million in Tilden Rogers, even though it's gonna take $12 million? And we're gonna need just spend $6 million over there, and just the other $1 million, I'm just hypothetically speaking, in between the other two parks.
I mean, the bids could come in at 10.2, and the council and say, okay, we'll just take the 2.3 million that are voting on in November, and we'll balance this book.
That's the
Again,
council.
but the council has to have accurate information. And we need to get the bids back to have that information.
Okay. And that's partially where we was at, but the work, how long would it take you all to come up to Tilden Rogers?
But there's already rendering done. I don't understand what needs to be redone.
Well, we'd have to do the working drawing so somebody can bid it.
Okay.
They can bid off the
And the
rendering.
specifications.
So all this time's been spent on one park, not all four. All this time's been on one park.
Yes.
Okay.
And it takes time to do these drawings, and, I mean, we've been hammering this park, so if we're ready and you're telling us
Yeah.
to start on the next park, we'll start on the next park. We couldn't have been working on two
Yeah,
at once.
in the last
Okay.
meetings that we had over there, we knew that, I remember the whole group was talking about, we knew we didn't have enough to do all of Tilden, but we did have enough to do, and Hightower had gotten put in there, and then the other two splash pads had gotten put in there. So we were like, let's do Tilden, and that'll let us know exactly what we need to target over at Tilden. If we did Hightower, we'd know what we had for Tilden, so we could finish one park all the way for the city. So it wouldn't be halfway done, and then we could know where ad alternates needed to be put in at Tilden. And that was the thinking of it.
Well, from my standpoint, the alternates are the overall project, not just bits and pieces of it. The money that we allocated in the budget, the $671,000 to pay for all of this,
Yeah.
is that still within the range, or you're saying you're gonna need an amendment to that?
No. we're-
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've just got to get to it.
Okay.
We went all the way through this one thinking we were going to get you hard numbers on this, and we'd know what was left in the overall pot for Tilden.
Okay.
And then to just, not, take enough of them, but you're saying all this time that has been spent, but, like I said, we've had a delay for COVID again for about 6 months. We didn't even have them on the contract, trying to chase a contract down to get them on the contract. So it hadn't been like they hadn't been doing anything. It had been there and not their fault, so.
Oh, I'm not saying it's somebody's fault, I just wanna make sure the numbers are still there.
I'm saying it's somebody's fault because it was some stuff getting drugged, some feet getting drugged on some things, but that's not an issue now, but anyway.
We
So
need
what
to
is our
finish the
takeaway
information so we
today?
get a bid.
What's our takeaway today? The architects are here, so they came before us asking permission, and now, everything is kind of changed. What's
What you guys like to see
takeaway?
them tasked with now?
What I'm saying is, if that's your rendering for that park, finish the other three, and let's get the bids on all four parks. And let's see where the numbers fall.
I'd agree with that.
May I explain something,
Go
please?
ahead, let's see, Treasurer.
Their estimated cost is what, 2.3 million? We can do the 9,050,000. We can finish this park. Look at the other two parks and spend the balance on Tilden. We won't completely get it finished.
Then you will not have given the public what you told them you were voting on.
No.
Yes, you will.
So we were going to be 100% with Tilden.
You gave the public a rendering of a concept, and you asked their permission to spend $9 million, and they gave it to you. If you can't deliver that rendering, then you need to ask for permission to change. You shouldn't just make changes without their say-so.
I agree. What I'm
It's their
saying
money,
is,
they approved it.
we've spoke about this in the past, that we knew that some fields would probably be grass because of budgetary numbers, because of the COVID and the supply chain, and now the inflation rates. We've got $9,050,000. We can spread that amongst the parks.
That's what I'm asking for. All
Yes.
4 parks. Bring us one bid package for everyone.
Yeah, but it needs to fit into the $9,050,000, which means Tilden probably will not be finished. It will have to take a second phase.
Again, if it's $12 million, tell the public what you want to spend. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just tell the public that, everything.
Well, we've got the money for $9,050,000, and we told them how
And
we
you
were
were given, they were given a concept. They were given a rendering of what it would look like.
Okay.
Fulfill that promise.
Okay, Tilden Rogers, that's the concept, I'm sorry, that's the concept for, High Tower, we think it's around in between 2.3 and 2.5. Okay. We hope, you know, due to everything is going crazy for us with everything. Do we have a number just set on splash pad, just for two,
Weren't you looking at some before? Wasn't it like, what was the 3 to 350? I was gonna say probably 350, depending on what size you go. It could be 300 to 500 right there.
'cause I think Councilman K did come up with a great point when he said that if the people approve this referendum, send that $2.5 million to the general fund, the city council could use that to pay $2.5 million in the part if you all choose to do that, which would cover what we thinking right now, because we all going on perception. There's nothing in stone of this part right here. And then you'll have $9,050,000. Well, I would take a $500,000 off for the splash pad for the other 2 parts that we did promise the people, and you can do as much as you can in Tears and Waters with the other 9, or whatever that balance may be.
The council's got to make a decision on how they're going to handle the $2.3 million to handle flood control project. They still got $6 million for the radio system to deal with.
I understand.
All these things are still out there.
Councilman
but
K,
we're
I
saying we wanna spend
understand
it on
all.
this one
I
aspect.
understand all of what you're saying, but I'm just saying the point that you made. You made that point, so I'm just saying it's fine. But the council got to make a decision, and then we'll give it back to the people. What I'm saying is, these numbers out here, and I'm telling the people, 9 million ain't gonna solve the concept that we got. And if we're gonna be honest, it's not gonna do it. So I'm just looking at ways, if you all decide that that's the way to go, you can go that way. If you feel that it's not the way to go, then we won't go that way.
Mayor, I'm not so sure that the public is gonna spend any extra money right now for anything.
That's you have a right to that opinion. I mean,
Tough time.
Again,
I
it's
agree.
hard to give the public information when you don't have the bids back. And we need to bid all 4 projects so we know exactly what we're dealing with within a reasonable number.
Okay.
Right now, anything anybody says is a best guess.
and that's how.
And we need the bids.
And you're right, and that's how it has been since they came to the polls. That was their best guess, because that $9,050,000 was never going to do that, especially after COVID and what COVID has brought to the city. Now, possibly then, those numbers probably been accurate, maybe been off a little bit here and there. We probably could have made up with some different moves that the council probably would have allocated money to. But right now, after COVID, the way inflation has went up on everything. I remember when we had this election, you can buy a 2x4 for $2.50. Now you go buy it now, it's just totally different. So with that being the way, we all have to be honest with the people that we cannot afford these projects if they see on a picture the way that they are now at that same price.
Because this project was initiated in 2018.
Yes, sir. I agree 100%. I would like to see a bid on all 4 projects, so we know where we stand and how we're going to move forward. So you can't move forward without the data.
That's all I need to know as a park director. Where do I need to task these architects with doing next? And sounds like what you're saying, is go ahead and complete the whole project total cost.
If you're through with this part, get the next one's done.
Yes, we are.
Now, within that, like what we did with this park, we had some ad alternates to make sure that we could at least get done what the public was gonna see and what they wanted in this park. And then some of the extra stuff got put into an ad alternate. If the money came in right, we can add this back. Do we wanna do something similar with Tilden, where we say, look, we can get the 5 turf softball fields, we can get the splash pad, we can get these certain things that you really voted on, but some of the minor improvements that are gonna add to that budget, can we separate those back out as ad alternates? To where we have a chance to get
Yeah.
some of these things
What
built.
you don't
I
wanna
agree
do
with your
is-
philosophy 100%. Once we get that data, we can present it back to the public.
But you'd be
And I'm
okay
sure
with
we'll
us-
have their blessing.
You'd be okay
But we
with
have
us
to give them
doing ad
something.
alternates. is
You
what
have
you're
to have
saying
the
to
alternates.
Tilden.
Yeah, there's no other option. So, no issues whether it's 2 or 10. But we gotta get the bids back, so say, here's what we can, here's what we can't do.
Okay.
We'll hold a couple public hearings, we'll move forward, get this done. Everybody wants these projects done, but we have financial constraints we have to meet.
So what
I'll
is
make a
the,
motion to approve this concept. Please bring us back the other 3 as soon as you can.
Okay, do you want us to go ahead and submit these, or just wait and submit everything at the same time?
I would submit everything at one, that way you're dealing with maybe one general contractor.
Okay.
So
That
you
would
might
be
get a
the
better
best.
bid that way.
Submit it all with all your contractors and, you know, get the best bids back.
Garrett?
And the question, from when we get that, who, since you guys, well, who will decide where we start at? Once, I mean, we get everything
the-
bid out. we get
the
it back
council.
and Approve, who will the council say, well, we're gonna start with this phase or this phase, because we had it kinda worked out in our mind.
Yes, sir, they will.
Huh,
Yes, sir, they will.
okay,
The city council would be the one that would give you the direction.
do what now?
The city council would give you the direction,
Okay.
once everything's back.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
So we got.
How soon? That's my question, is how soon can you come back?
We'll jump on it as soon as possible.
All right,
Get
thank
on
you.
it. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, it will. It'll be the
The
next
other thing
year.
is, I mean, because
Be sure you go back to the dates when this was passed, and we didn't add all this.
Okay.
the other thing about you saying the council will decide, but wouldn't it be prudent for the council to work with the general contractor to know what's best and how to best achieve the quickest goal and get it done, you know?
Once we get the bids back, the council's gonna rely on this staff
Yes.
right here that's in front of us today to say, here's the best way to handle this project now. And we're gonna follow that advice, most likely.
Uh,
But, you know, the architect's gonna give us guidance on that. And he's gonna be working with the general of 1 or 4, and they're gonna lay out a game plan to get this thing accomplished.
And that's the other thing, if we get 4, will they all be working at once, or will we do this, let this one do, this one do, this one do, or how that's gonna work?
Well, you have 4 different parks, but one in each park and get them moving, get them
Let
done.
them go.
Well, you're not just letting them go.
Well,
You have
well-
checks and balances. I mean, you're gonna be there checking it.
Right, but I'm
That's
just
your
saying-
job.
I'm just saying, though, when you got 4 projects going at once, there's gonna be a lot going on.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
4.
get it done.
Okay,
That won't be a problem.
We can handle the CA too.
Yeah, we'll be there.
I mean, the last time I remember us talking, the council talking about this was when you guys brought the designs up for Tilton Rogers and Hightower, and we were running over budget at that time. And we started talking about things we wanted to adjust and cut back. And this is the next rendering, I guess, from that time to this time. But I just think that we should look at it as a total project.
So I do have a question. Councilman Crum,
Yes, sir.
looking at this rendering, what is it that you want to cut back on this one?
Huh?
Looking at this rendering, what is it that you want to cut back
Well, I
on
don't
that?
know. I haven't really got into it in the detail, so I'm not saying we'll cut back anything.
I mean, I'm just asking because I know, and that's another thing. At the meeting yesterday, the whole council was invited on the 1% with Ms. Muhammad. I'm just asking that we get more involved. So if you all do approve and go that way, then we will, because if we don't know what it's costing us to cut back, how we gonna know what to cut back? That's all I'm saying.
I make a motion that the council approve this first rendering that we have for this park, and we get the other 3 renderings in as soon as possible so we can approve those and move forward.
But are we talking about a guesstimation of 2 point whatever million?
No, when we get the bids back, we'll know for sure. But right now, this is the concept that they have to write the bids for. Same way with the other 3 projects, it'll be the same thing. Once we approve the concept, they will write the bid specs to accomplish that task. Get everything out, get everything back in, show you where you're at. But they have to be able to move forward. And this project, if council's happy with it, we can go ahead and move, say, yes, this one's fine, get the other 3 done, so we can get a bid packet out.
But that's what they've been trying to do all evening.
That's what we're here to do now.
You stopped them in midstream, but basically, that's what they were trying to show us.
But when,
They were wanting to bid a single aspect of the project, not the total. We need to do the entire project so we know where we stand financially.
That's what it did say, yeah.
I have a motion on the floor.
Councilman McKay has a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Now, let's make sure, restate the motion. Restate the motion.
The council is approving this concept, and we're asking them to go ahead and get the other 3 done so we can get a total bid package for the total project, not just one aspect of it.
Okay.
Sure. Mr. Clerk?
Councilmember Bruce,
Yes.
Councilmember Cat,
Yes.
Councilmember Croom,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Harris. She said yes. Councilmember Muhammad,
Yes.
Councilmember Mundy,
No?
Councilmember Murray,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheelis.
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeses.
We have 7 yeses and 1 no. That motion passes.
So,
Thank you for all the work
I
you've
know
done,
we
and
voted.
we're anxious to see the rest of it.
So we have approved this concept, and now what we're gonna do is bring the others back. How long do you think it may take you to get those ready for us?
It'd probably be a few months to get it together, but I promise we'll do it as fast as we can.
Right,
We're
right.
ready to roll on it.
And then we'll be in compliance with what the public put out there. So I think all of that will work fine. We really thank you all so much.
I really want to add this. I want you all to know that, and it's fine how you all made the vote on this, but $9,050,000 is not going to cover this project. 'Cause I remember, and confirming, complete me if I'm wrong, Mr. Clerk, it was already around 13 million to do this anyway.
13 something.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. You had 13 million, you dropped it down to 9. Now with inflation to double like it's doing now, you probably 6, 7 million away. So I think the thing is need to be, if you all follow Mr. Cat, get with the people and see what the people want to do. Because I know they're not going to make a tax, but they're going to pay it. So, and I know some of my council members don't even like the sound of tax words anyway. So, the decision the council made. That's the one.
May I say something?
That's fine, Mr.
I
Monday.
want to thank you guys. Y'all have worked hard on this project. You know, I came out and looked at it the other day and it looked good. I really appreciate everything that y'all have done trying to get this done.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys, and we'll start moving forward. I work with the council to move forward on till the rod, see what we need to do.
But before y'all leave, Mayor, I'd like to say something too.
Dr. Bruce, go ahead.
Basically, well, and the suggestion was made that we may need to go back to the people and let them know what we want to do. Well, if we feel strongly about that park being done, I think we need to go back to the people and let them know we want to go ahead and do this project. And then come back.
I mean, I agree with whatever they say. I just know that we projecting this project going to be around 2.5 million, and we got 9,050,000 sent at the door. So then, if you all decide to move on with that, but however, you all need to do it. Councilman Croom?
Mayor, but that was the motion was that we approved that format or what the drawing that y'all did for Hightower, and we're gonna wait until we get the other 3 before we bid them out. And then we'll take a look at them, and if there's some adjustment that needs to be made, we'll make some adjustments.
And that's what I'm saying. You know it's gonna have to be some adjustment, 'cause like I said,
Well, it was a-
it's 13 that I think I remember. There's 13 million to do that park anyway, and it got reduced down to 9 million. So, and one thing I do want to take this off of the parks director, and I'm not blaming it on anyone, but that Tilden Rogers Park was Frank Baby, and as mayor, I did agree with it. And Lorenzo came in, Mr. Parker came in on the back end of it, and he was not really part of constructing the idea on his own. So I appreciate you for stepping in and taking reins on this.
But going back to Tilton Rogers, and Mr. Parker, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that could be a huge revenue for the city of West Memphis if it was renovated and you could hold your tournaments like I've heard people talking about now for years out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the concept of, or the idea of thinking of the parks department is, you know, we say Tilden Rogers is a park, but it's actually a sports complex. And it actually is a revenue generating entity.
Yes.
You know, and so that's the plan, and the other thing that we try or want to do out there are to enhance it for some things for our citizens, but that is the main concept of Tilden Rogers as a draw to your city, to have people come in and spend tax dollars at hotels, restaurants, stores and whatnot for the tournament. So yes, that is still the concept and the basic thinking from the Parks and Recreation Department, that is a revenue generating entity that we want to enhance it to get people here to make money, and then the money that is being made can be put back into the other city parks.
Well, thank you for your leadership on this project, and also you guys, you know, for doing all your work. And I see your dad's not doing anything. Why don't you bring him into the fold?
No, he's working with us, so we got him.
Excuse me, Mr. City Clerk.
Can I say one thing before you end? Because first of all, number one, if you look back, look at going back trying to change the referendum. Of course, you know it's going to take 90 days. Of course, if, you know, I think the meeting's going to be important. I'm just saying once they call it for everybody to attend, because therefore you can come up with a comprehensive plan, because it's going to take 90 days for you to get it back on the referendum. And I'm going to ask the senior deputy clerk if she don't mind if you just send everybody a copy of it so they'll have the one to look at. So, you know, and that's what I'm saying, because everyone really truly needs to attend the meeting. I'm just saying that way everybody be up on what's going on, you know.
Well, and Jane, that's a good idea, because over the course of 4 years, so much stuff has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, numbers, things that we want, so I just want everybody to be clear and everybody to be on the same page on whatever we get done, or whatever we do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move down to committee reports, budget.
The budget met today, but I do not have the recap of the meeting yet. It was I can tell you it was a short meeting, but we did have a quorum, so I'll report on it next meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. Utility.
Utility. I have utility and police.
Okay.
Okay, utility, we met July the 14th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. The first item on the agenda was approval of June's minutes. Minutes were approved as written. The second item on the agenda was June safety report. There were 28 days since last recordable, 39 days since the last lost time injury, and 2 recordable injuries for June. The third item on the agenda was personnel update. There were 2 new hires, no resignations for the month of June. The utility currently has 7 open positions out of 79 budgeted positions. The next item on the agenda was approval of bids for 500,000 gallon concrete clear wall repair and painting. This was presented by Assistant General Manager Ward Wimbish. He recommended Mung and painting the low bid in the amount of $267,000. Motion passed unanimously. The fifth and last item on the agenda was approval of bids for power transformers. This was presented by Engineer Peyton Smith. The recommended Virginia Transformer Company expedited bid in the amount of $1,763,286. Motion passed unanimously. And utility report, Police Commission met on July the 18th, 2022. Meeting was called to order at 12:10 p.m. Topics of discussion, code enforcement adding 2 officers, 1 officer part-time on police department, and then 1 full-time, Officer Mike Antel and Antoine Ford to assist Officer George Phillips. We discussed basketball goals, abandoned vehicles, and motorcycles blocking city streets and sidewalks. The ordinance concerning parked vehicles need to be enforced. Personnel, we have several officers in training that will be active soon. We still have some openings. We talked about enforcing juvenile curfew, and then appreciation of the job that our police officers are doing. Our city seems to be quieted down, and Councilman Garrett Bruce stated concerning our police department, we appreciate all that you do when you can do it. Meeting adjourned at 12:30 p.m. End of report.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You said it was discussed about the cars and motorcycles blocking the sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay, did you all discuss anything about the garbage cans blocking sidewalks? Because the sidewalks are for pedestrian use and safety. Some
Well-
people have garbage can and garbage bags sitting directly on the sidewalk. Was that issue addressed as well, to take those garbage cans and garbage off of the public sidewalk?
Okay, anything that obstruct traffic or pedestrian traffic in the street or on the sidewalk
Right.
is against all city ordinance.
So what was the conclusion? What did you come up with? Are they going to start ticketing, warning, or what?
Yes, now that we have extra code enforcement officers, they are going to aid Mr. Phillips, and they, we can cover more territory.
Also, Mayor, I guess, I won't just say the mayor, this council, I guess, needs to give them the blessing to follow the ordinance as far as towing cars that are parked on the streets
Right.
Oh,
at night.
On the sidewalk as
But,
well, yeah.
because they said they were doing it at one time and they kind of
Yeah.
stopped.
Mhm.
And so we definitely need them to, ticket or tow or whatever they do, park vehicles that are on the street, because it's for the officer's safety as well.
Yeah, Nick Coulter made a post on Facebook on our city page for us, removing illegal vehicles and different things that was parked. We got a lot of response. I wouldn't say it was the best response, but it's still the law, and we have to follow the law. So, I agree with you.
Well, not just the illegal vehicles. I'm very gung-ho on those garbage cans because I've literally seen people have to get off the sidewalk into the street to go around those cans. And not only that, you talk about the health and safety. Now that it's so very, very hot, you got garbage everywhere. You're talking about maggots, flies, all of these things that could affect little children that are trying to ride their bicycles, having to get out. Children, they're not going to pay any attention to the field. They're just out there trying to have fun. And we've got COVID on the uptick again. So please include in that ad garbage cans as well and garbage bags. Not trash, but literally house garbage that's sitting on the sidewalk. And I don't even know how a person can even bring themselves to do something so filthy.
And in our ordinance with the new
25,
can,
25.
they supposed to bring those back. So they're supposed to be doing it anyway. So
Right.
we'll get the code enforcement to start looking into addressing that issue as well.
Some people are so hard-headed, they just won't listen.
Councilor Burry,
Yes, sir.
question. Did I hear you mention juvenile curfew?
Yes.
And were y'all just discussing it, or?
We discussed it. We didn't have a quorum, okay? So we didn't make any decision. But the officers, so that's something that we became lax on, and they wouldn't like to reenact it, enforce it.
Okay.
So basically, if our officers would just go ahead and enforce the ordinances that are on the books, we'll be in good shape.
Well, we've had a shortage of personnel in the police department.
Right.
And
That's
now that,
understood.
our numbers are going up, that we can do a lot more now.
And I'm going to say what a lot of people don't want to say. I know it's easy to say, well, our police can do this. Our police moving and doing everything that we ask and trying to do what they can do, short or full. But still, a lot of these issues we dealing with is parenting. At your house, parent, you move your garbage bag. Parent, you make sure your child in the house at a certain time. You know, at 12 o'clock with your 15-year-old son walking down the street. A lot of this is just parenting, and
Yeah.
and there's some certain things that we can't, and we can enforce it, but actually, what we gonna be able to do now? It's a situation. I'm not gonna call it addresses, but a situation where you got a house, people living in peace. You got 20 vehicles in the yard, motorcycles riding down the street. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, sir.
If they just would do right, then they won't be complaining saying, well, we got the police doing that to them. And I know when it's been election time, everyone going to be kind of frigid there of what they say. But we're going to have to make them hard decisions and do what just have to be done.
That was
I'd
also
like to
part-
say
that
this,
was
Mayor.
part of the discussion also.
Yeah, that was part of the discussion. I'd like to say this, and I did. I thank the police officers, for the work that they're doing. Because when the people have called in that area, they have responded.
Yes.
So, you know, some things they can do, some things they can't.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm truly appreciative for the work that the police officers are doing.
Gotta have them. Yeah. But like you said, the parents don't do nothing.
It's,
You gotta get their parents' attention on what's going on first. If they know, they just ignore it.
yes, ma'am. Was there any other questions for police? We're going to move on to public works,
That report was done the
Okay.
last time. It's fire and
Okay.
parks.
fire and parks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, so much. The Fire Commission met Tuesday, July 19th. It was a short meeting, but there were a few things that were discussed that's very, very pertinent to our city. Currently, there are no vacancies in fire or EMS. Battalion Chief Vince Richardson will be retiring on the 26th of July after giving the city 27 years of service. And we're going to ask all to come out
hate that.
and bid him, huh?
I hate that.
Well, I think he went on to greater and better things, so we have to applaud anyone who wants to better their lives and the lives of their family. The fire department is in need of a battalion pickup truck, in which we've discussed that in times past. All fire stations at this time are up and operational with no maintenance needed. The new training facility at Station 2 is moving right along. The containers have been moved and placed and are just waiting for welding, painting, and fabrication. Currently, there is one firefighter in EMT training, which is a 5-week training class. There were 1,169 EMS calls year-to-date of this meeting. EMS collection year-to-date of this meeting is $114,862. There were some citizens concerned about the condition of our fire hydrants around the city, that they are in very bad disarray and some are not even operational. Chief Clay did send me a list of those hydrants that are in need of repairing, painting, and replacing. And of course, the fire department does not do any painting or anything of that nature. They are just, I think he said, basically concerned about making sure that there's water flow. And then when the citizens brought this to my attention, I did drive around the city, and all of the fire hydrants really look like they need a little bit of a facelift. So that's something that maybe, if we talk about it, it's something that perhaps
That
keep
may
West
be
Memphis
something we can
beautiful
get
project.
the sheriff with his
You
people
think-
to help us.
You think they'll let them out on the public streets like that?
Man, I'm telling you, the trustees, when you get through your report, I'm going to cut your report, but I'm just going to tell you all the things they've been doing. But
Okay.
sure, we
Oh,
probably.
great. And also, I thought about maybe it's something that the Keep West Memphis Beautiful Committee could do, but we can't do all of them, but with some of the fraternities and other people, that could be a great project there as well. And I know Patricia, she'll get her paintbrush out there, and she'll do about 15 or 20 in 1 hour. She's so wonderful, great volunteer. And that ends my report as far as the Fire Commission. You want to go ahead and input what you have to say on that now? Then I go to Parks.
Well, you can go to Parks.
Parks is very short. Mr. Ladd and his architect, they were here discussing what we kind of talked about in Parks, and we kind of got that resolved. And I think the only thing that we talked about of great importance was Sunny Wings. park dedication is going to be the first week in August. I don't remember exactly what, I think he said the first Monday in August. I'll have to get that information and bring that back to you. So that ends my reports.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Airport? Anyone have an airport report? All right. Did I miss, overlook any other committees who haven't probably met?
Mayor, I got one other thing too. Not wanting to leave out Mr. Phillips, because he's done an excellent job too. I've been calling him and calling him and calling him, and he's shown up when I've called for different issues. So I'd like to thank him for his services as well.
He does a great job. I agree with that. He does a great job.
All right.
To be one person.
If that was to that, okay.
You were going to say something about the...
Yeah, I'm just gonna do an announcement. So I had no presentations. On announcements, I did want to thank our sheriff, Mike Allen. Mike Allen gave us 4 inmates that helped us all week, and I'm telling you, those guys done an amazing job. I mean, they went in and cleaned up in that trailer park area and where we did the new groundbreaking up, and I thank you all for attending. They went to Mayfair, they cleaned that area up. I know it was down, they did a great job. They was on Clement Road picking up paper all on the side. Even Jackson and 10th Street of the property that we just torn down, they done an amazing job. They was going out through the city to do different parts. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to utilize them in the next week. And if you all have in the Pacific areas that's in the community that we possibly can get them out, or see will they be allowed to paint fire hydrants and different things like that.
Yeah, with the
So
utility department.
those young men, like I said, they made a mistake, but it was good for them because actually while they were working for the city, only thing I did was bought them lunch. But only thing we did was bought them lunch. But the sheriff started to pay them $11 an hour to go toward their fines.
Yeah.
So they were able to get released
here.
quicker.
That's
So, and I'm telling you, them guys done them what we get paid to do that we don't want to do. Them guys went out and did it with a smile, and they done a great job. So I look forward to utilizing them in any area that we may need some additional people. And I know helping with keeping this city clean, that's probably one of the best ideas. You know, it's an old solution, but they did come through for us. So
A great self-esteem booster.
exactly. So matter of fact, if you have an area, we will talk. If any of you all have in the Pacific areas, just let me know, and if it's safe and it meets within our guidelines, I'm sure they'd love to do it.
Wow.
And also, the women across the street as well, they are going down farther down Broadway, and they are cleaning up as well. So, you know, I look at it about them being inmates. Some people may make mistakes, but I mean, everyone has to get a second chance. You know, and I just appreciate them. So, that's good.
Yeah, I was in charge of that with
Yeah.
the county.
Exactly.
The best,
Yeah.
most loyal people, and they love getting out,
Exactly.
get some extra money. Plus, it goes to pay off their fines, because there's a lot of
Exactly.
people incarcerated for simple little things. Simple misdemeanors, but they don't have the money to pay the fines, so they have to
Exactly.
stay in jail. So most of these people
Exactly.
are wonderful.
Mayor McClellan, I'll get with Todd Peterson, because I think he is, that department is responsible for the maintenance, the beautification of those, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, we're good. And lastly, for me, you all know that the COVID numbers are beginning to rise. So I'd like for you all to start to be more mindful.
I've been a
just
victim.
around I've been a victim as well. I'm kind of still under a little protection, but let's just make sure we be mindful of COVID, to make sure we keep each other safe. The last thing I have, my good friend, Miss Brindley, would you come forward? Brenda Williams. Actually, what she's doing, and the only thing we're going to do today, she gave an application for the operate of a non-emergency medical transport. And what we do, we normally give it out to the council for this week, and then they will go home and read up on it. And then after they read up on it at the next meeting, then they will vote and take a vote on it.
Okay. She has a good bit.
Yeah, it's an agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I'm saying.
Or did any council people have any questions for her right now? Or you just gonna
right now.
read the agenda? Okay, it's in our file. Here it is, right here.
Yes, sir, it is.
Here it is. So if y'all want to look at it. I had to keep you so long on a 10-minute meeting.
You said
But
that
yeah.
they end up being the
Yes,
longest.
sir.
The shortest end up being the longest.
Well, thank you, Ms. Williams.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Come back at the next meeting with
I
your
will.
meeting. Yeah.
Tell Bean Beans I said hi.
Is there anything else the council need to bring forward? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed?